This is The Linked Legal. I'm Anthony Albrecht. I want to talk about how we all learned LinkedIn the wrong way. I first got an account in 2008, I believe, my second year of law school. Have had one ever since. And say from 2008 until basically the end of 2021, I do believe I was using LinkedIn the wrong way. To talk about what I mean, I want to talk about free throws in basketball. These are foul shots. I assume just about everybody is familiar with what I'm referring to, where if you get fouled, you get to go to the line in the middle of the court. Nobody's guarding you. You get to shoot one or two shots, right? And there's a way we all learn to shoot free throws when we grow up playing basketball. I was never a great basketball player. The peak of my career in that sport was in the 7th grade when Dave Murray, I believe he was the Channel 2 weatherman who was coaching the other team in my rec league in St. Louis, Missouri, after a rousing, I believe it was a 43-42 victory. Why do I remember this? More than 25 years later, who knows? As we were shaking hands after the game, Dave Murray, weatherman, said to me, "You're a hell of a ball player, kid." I said, "Thank you, Dave Murray. Thank you." That was the pinnacle of my basketball career. But anyway, I was a decent free throw shooter. And growing up, we all learned the same way, where you bounce it a couple times and then you hold the ball up straight over your head and you kind of flick your wrist or push your arm, depending on how big you are. And this is just taken as the way to do it. It's the way everybody does it. But it's not actually the way that everybody does it. And I did not learn this until I was an adult. There was a guy named Rick Barry who played college professionally in the 60s, 70s. He was an excellent player. He's basically the only guy to have led the league in scoring in the NCAA, the NBA, and the ABA. The ABA and the NBA would end up merging at some point in the 70s, but he's the only player to ever do that. And at the time of his retirement from professional basketball, he also had the highest free throw percentage ever, 90%. He shot 90% from the free throw line throughout his career. At the time, he was the best to have ever done that. Why is that notable? He didn't shoot the way that I just described. He did it granny style. He shot free throws underhanded. You know what I mean, right? I bet even if somebody doesn't know how to shoot a free throw properly, you know how to shoot granny style, right? You just spread your legs a little bit, put the ball down between your legs, you kind of fling it upward. Granny style. There's no other way to say it, right? Underhanded. This is how he shot free throws. And he was the best at it. And what is so remarkable is how basically nobody followed his lead. Why? Because it looks silly. Because if you're a professional basketball player, the last thing you want to do is look silly or quote unquote girly. And the granny shot is associated with little kids. There have been a few other players who followed Barry's lead, it sounds like, at least a little bit. Shaquille O'Neal, Shaq, one of the greatest players of all time. Like Rick Barry and Shaq are both top 50 NBA players of all time. Shaq was about a 52% free throw shooter in his career. He was notorious for being awful at shooting free throws. One of the best players of all time, one of the worst free throw shooters of all time. And this was a problem. There became a strategy that emerged called Hack-a-Shaq, where you couldn't stop this guy when he got the ball. You couldn't actually defend him, so you just foul him. And you make him go to the line, and you make him shoot free throws. Because that was your best chance of limiting how much he was going to score. Shaq at some point did experiment with Rick Barry's method for free throw shooting, but it didn't last. I did a touch of looking around trying to find how long did it last. I couldn't. If anybody knows, ping me. What I heard Shaq say was, I'd rather shoot 0% than look like that. How goofy is that? I wonder how many games Shaq's teams lost during his career that they would have won had he shot free throws, let's say at a 70% clip, which is pretty normal in the NBA. If instead of making 5 out of 10, he made 7 out of 10, how many games would he have won otherwise? 1, 10, 50? I don't know. I'd bet a lot of money that it's more than 0. That decision actually cost his teams games. So, what's this got to do with LinkedIn and how we learned it the wrong way? It's pretty clear, right? You're a sharp bunch. When we show up to LinkedIn, we don't really view it as a game, do we? No, it's the digital bulletin board where you say you're thrilled to announce when you get a new job, and you share company press releases and Wall Street Journal articles, or I guess for lawyers, ABA Journal articles. That's what LinkedIn is for, right? You're all shooting like Shaq from the free throw line. I was too. That's absolutely what I was doing. Your form's all messed up. You're coming to the game the wrong way. You're approaching the game not simply with the wrong form, but if you pull the lens back, with the wrong mindset. I'm a guy who tends to try to get away from black or white thinking, right and wrong. Much more of a both and, non-dualist kind of guy. Not here, though. Not here. I will say it's fine that this is how we all learned it. That's just fine. And in a way, it's awesome because this is the source of the tremendous opportunity on LinkedIn for lawyers, for legal professionals, basically for professionals across a whole bunch of different industries. Because we are all Shaq trying to shoot free throws overhanded and just looking awkward and uncomfortable and largely ineffective despite being awesome at what we do. Because that's the reality for almost all of us. A field of play, the LinkedIn platform. I think I'm not going to edit much of this. I'm going to take from Charlie Mann. I'm going to try just like rolling and seeing how this goes. But we have a field of play where almost nobody is approaching it in a more effective way. That's what I discovered back in really 2022. In 2021, after I left the practice in October, I took Justin Welsh's operating system course, which was an awesome course. Changed my life because it helped me understand this perspective. And I started posting about creativity, creative process, and my own journey there. And I noticed a bunch of lawyers looking at my profile, messaging me, some even engaging with my posts, wondering what was going on there. What became clear along the way was that they were seeing my posts, even though I had left the practice of law and I was not talking about anything related to law, because the LinkedIn algorithm didn't really have anything else to show them. I was one of the most interesting things on any of my lawyer colleagues' feeds. And the LinkedIn algorithm, like most of these algorithms out here, they want us to stay on the platform. They want us to hang out. So they're optimizing for what will keep people's attention, will keep people engaged. So you see where I'm going with this, right? That your opportunity on LinkedIn, whether you're a lawyer, a paralegal, somebody who supports in a law firm, a vendor in the space, a law student who hasn't even started your career yet, the opportunity out here, you can be Rick Barry. There's got to be a better way to say that, but if you're willing to shoot granny style, you can be more effective than people with way more experience and people who have achieved a lot more professionally than you have. Because they're Shaq shooting that way. And there are ways that it's actually easier and more intuitive to shoot granny style than it is to do the way we learned. That's kind of the weird thing. It's like, it's not like Rick Barry invented a new way of shooting that then other people were like, there was like a hump to get over in terms of like learning the technique. No, this is the way we think about shooting when we pick up a basketball for the first time when we're 3 years old. That's what we do. It's the intuitive way. It's the natural way. What I'm suggesting to you is that there is a natural way to show up as yourself on LinkedIn. And the more you manage to do that, the better your results are going to be. Because while everybody else is looking awkward and uncomfortable, trying to fit themselves into the box of what they think that the person with that job title in that firm or company should look like, should talk about, you're able to lead with yourself, who you are, what you care about, what you're interested in, what you're learning, what you're struggling with, what you're celebrating. You can lead with all that stuff in a way that feels more natural, more comfortable, more genuine, and it's going to be more effective. It's going to help make you more magnetic. I talk about the power of developing a magnetic online presence. This really is the key to it. It's leading with what makes you you, your perspective, your point of view. You're leading with that. You're telling your stories. You're sharing your experiences. Because even if you're just getting started in law, you are, I say this with some degree of confidence, the expert of your own lived experience. And there's a lot of hay you can make by just leading with that. So, we all learned LinkedIn the wrong way. There's still a ton of opportunity if you start trying a different way, a granny style approach. You score more points, it just feels better. How's that sound? There's some stuff about Rick Barry also, he had a reputation as being just kind of a difficult guy, not short on confidence, and can be abrasive. So there's that may have also played a part in why people didn't want to adopt the granny style approach. But never let facts color a good story, right? All right. I think I've covered enough ground for this episode. Thank you for listening. As you know, with these podcasts, ratings and reviews are always helpful. If you want to check me on Spotify or Apple or wherever you listen to podcasts. And also, we've got a link to the Linked Legal in the show notes. I'd be grateful if you check out what we've got going on there, where we are developing a content membership of like group coaching calls, weekly lessons where I'm sending out actionable strategic advice on how to do different things in the branding and content game on LinkedIn. That we're also preparing to get our next round of boot camps off the ground in April, which should be exciting. So Thanks for listening. Till next time, I'll see you out there in the arena.